It's been about a month since Resident Evil 9 Requiem dropped, and at launch, the hype for this game was unreal. Some people were throwing around the word that the game is a masterpiece, but now that the dust has settled and the critics are basically rolling in, and honestly, some of the criticism it has, I agree to some extent. And to basically summarize the main criticism for Requiem is that it tries to juggle both survival horror and action horror. But neither Grace nor Leon's section ever quite reached the peak of the franchise. And if you want pure terror, there's still Resident Evil 7, which is really, really scary. And if you want action, there's still Resident Evil 4. And having 100%ed Requiem myself, I definitely enjoyed my time with it. But the split personality of the campaign really did hurt its replayability and makes me feel like it has no clear direction or where it's going, or the theme never really hits that peak, the way that Resident Evil 7 would be very scary or Resident Evil 4 would be very epic. And I found myself thinking that I have to wait years again for Capcom to finally release at least a game or maybe another Resident Evil that is able to nail the theme and the aspect of Resident Evil. But then PRAGMATA released, and boy, it is really, really good. In PRAGMATA, you play as a dude in a spacesuit lugging around an android child through a hostile space station. It gives off a major Kojima vibes for a game, and I'll tell you, this game, it absolutely rocks. And having practically finished it, it got me thinking, when a game commits 100% to a single focused vision, instead of trying to please two different crowds, the whole experience just elevates. And the gameplay and its music and its story and its setting, it all feels incredibly cohesive. So today I kind of want to break down exactly why PRAGMATA feels so much better to play and at least so much better to replay compared to Resident Evil Requiem. So, before I continue on, I want to make a disclaimer, and it has to be crystal clear. I do not hate Resident Evil 9, nor do I hate the Resident Evil franchise. I love this series. I have started with the original RE4 back in 2005 and have played through almost every mainline game since. I stuck with it through the lows, like I'm looking at you, Resident Evil 6, RE3 Remake, and of course, the most famous Resident Evil game of all time, yes, Umbrella Corps. So trust me, the love is there. I do not hate Resident Evil. And of course, a quick heads up, there will be spoilers for both PRAGMATA and Resident Evil 9 Requiem. So, like I said, Resident Evil Requiem is like a flawed masterpiece, quote-unquote. On your first playthrough, of course you're astonished, the game feels incredible. But once you replay it, the constant switching between Grace and Leon sometimes become straight up just annoying. It's like a massive clash in tone and direction, which I think is intentional by the developers, right? Because that is the idea. The dual protagonist system is what makes Resident Evil 9 kind of unique in that case. But I just want to go into details on why this is a little bit of a problem. Let's take the opening scene of the game, for example, where Grace has to go to a hotel where her mother was basically killed. The pacing there is slow, it's unbearable, and she gets kidnapped, and it was an incredible horror setup. But then we instantly cut to Leon, and then the game turns into Zombieland. I get that it was meant to prep the players for the campaign, the dual campaign structure, but to me, that causes a total whiplash. And it doesn't happen only once. This happens again later, when Grace is in the care center, and we get her first confrontation with the girl. And that scene, I tell you, when we first meet her was terrifying. When she grabbed the dead body with her big hands, and the book tells you to stay in the light, that was top-tier horror. But then, 15 minutes later, we immediately jump back to Leon, basically having a battle against a zombie with a chainsaw in basically an action movie scene. And then the game has the audacity to have Leon meet the girl, only for him to shoot and stun her. Which I know, it's Leon. It makes sense, he's all-powerful and cool and whatnot. but it completely ruins the mystique of the girl that looks like an unstoppable force at first. Okay, honestly, there could be even a video on how I think that the girl or the pursuer, the girl is a wasted potential, but that would be like another video. And the clash of this theme absolutely hurts the RE9 experience when it could have been much more scarier or much more action-packed if they would have just, done something about it. You know what else is kind of lacking sometimes? My subscriber count. So like, if you want to hit that like button and subscribe, it really does help me out. I'm a growing channel. It really, really does help me. So moving on. So like, let's look at the flip side and let's look at Pragmata. Right from the start, the game immediately drops you with our little android friend called DI33067, or just, people call her Diana. And immediately you understand that you are in this sci-fi space adventure. But it's when you hit the shelter or the rest area of the game where it truly understands its vision. The shelter, in my opinion, is the absolute best part about Pragmata because it is basically the most focused and the way you kind of understand where the setting and the story and the flows of the game itself. Because in there, you get to interact with Diana, you get to give her present, and just bond and talk with her. It cements the core identity of Pragmata, and that is a highly focused father and daughter dynamic between you, the soldier or the engineer that we're playing, and Diana. And sure, there's a lot of gameplay diversity. That game is basically a lot of game combines into one. There's puzzle, and there's action, and there's shooting. But the path is always clear. The game locks you into this laser-focused mindset where your only goal is to protect Diana, which grounds you perfectly in the setting and the theme. The frustrating thing about Requiem is that Capcom technically already knows how to fix this problem. If they really wanted to preserve the replayability and the atmosphere surrounding Requiem, all they had to do was basically separate between Grace's section and Leon's section from the start, and exactly like they did with Leon and Claire in Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 2 Remake, Capcom could have really learned a lesson from their own playbook here. Different characters or different campaign can coexist in the same game, but they do not need to be mashed together until it destroys the pacing or the theme or the overall vibe of the story. But that's just my take. So what do you guys think? Should Capcom keep forcing Resident Evil to have clashing campaigns? Or should they go back to letting each campaign stand on its own? And yeah, let me know down in the comments. So I'll catch you in the next video. So bye for now.